Pretty hungry today, but not really sure what I want to eat. An apple or a banana?
Pick me. No, pick me. But I taste so good and I'm easier to eat.
No. 46% of American men are uncomfortable eating you in public. Where did you come from anyway?
Well, I was born in Costa Rica. I've grown very accustomed to warmth and sunlight. I was really picky about my soil when I was little. I only liked it well drained. I was also thirsty all the time, so I needed regular deep water. I was a pretty fussy baby, so my parents fed me a lot. I needed 1.5 to 2 pounds of fertilizer per month. I also didn't have a very diverse group of friends. My parents called their neighborhood a monoculture or something like that. I wish I could have met some other fruits besides bananas. I really like to travel too, so I get shipped all over the world on ocean liners. I'm really popular too. I'm the 5th largest agricultural commodity in the world, and each American eats about 28 pounds of meat each year. What do you think? Do you think you can beat that?
Wow, you certainly think highly of yourself. All I asked was where you're from. But yes, actually, I do think I can beat that. I was born right here in Northfield, just 4.4 miles away at the Fireside Orchard. I was never very hungry or thirsty, so I needed a lot less water than you. I was only fed fertilizer 1 or 2 times a year, and that was only when I really needed it. My parents had me on the low spray diet because they wanted me to watch my environmental impact. I learned to store nitrogen in my roots to save it for later in case I got hungry. I was lucky enough to make this 4-mile trip to St. Olaf, but some of my brothers and sisters were sent to the food shelf. It's great that they're not being wasted. And hey, I'm popular too. Just last year, 552,000 bushels of apples were grown in Minnesota.
You think you're so cool, but you're not even organic.
Hey, it's not like you're organic either. And besides, it's really hard to grow organic apples east of Fargo, North Dakota because of pests like punk or curlew and apple maggots that exist here but not there. That's why those Washington apples get all the glory. Just because I'm not organic doesn't mean I'm not better for the environment, though. You're the one who's destroying rainforests.
Oh no! You know my deepest, darkest secret.
I know what? All of those rainforests have been cleared to plant bananas. That destroys the soil, but they still use it and then have to continually expand their fields to make up for this loss of productivity. Plus, think of all those cute little chimpanzees that used to live in that rainforest. The farmers destroyed their habitat for you.
But, well, you have me there. Plus, I know that I'm also responsible for a lot of biodiversity loss between all the marsh draining, stream channelizing, and tree clearing. That's rather selfish of me, isn't it? Like I said, it's not really my fault, though, because I'm so popular. Everyone wants me.
Yeah, and all those people who want you are all over the world. They ask for bananas year-round, no matter the climate, so you travel thousands of miles and burn gallons and gallons of fossil fuels.
You're right, that's not very environmentally conscious of me. Hey, don't you travel far too?
Nope. Fireside refuses to ship apples, so all of my relatives and I get to stay nice and close to our birthplace.
But don't you want to get outside and experience the world?
Nope, I'm perfectly happy staying close to home and feeding the wonderful people at St. Olaf. Plus, I don't want to be a gas guzzler like you. There are 2 tons of waste produced for every ton of bananas shipped. I don't want anything to do with that.
Well, if you seem so intent on insulting me, what else do you plan on saying?
I think it's time to bring up my last big argument. All that sea life that banana production kills.
What? I don't know anything about that.
That's right. Pesticide runoff from your neighborhood is creating giant algae blooms. Thanks to eutrophication, all the algae dies, creating a dead zone in the ocean. Plus, all the sea creatures like tortoises and manatees that eat that algae are going extinct.
How awful of me. What else?
I can't believe you don't know this stuff. Your parents also dressed you in pesticide-coated plastic bags to prevent insect damage. Those bags are just thrown away in open air dumps and could just blow away. When they end up in the water, those bags can suffocate sea turtles.
That's terrible. But wait, you have pesticide problems too. Apples are on the list of the top 12 foods upon which pesticide residue is most frequently found. That means you're responsible for nitrogen runoff, eutrophication, habitat loss, wetland destruction, land use change, loss of biodiversity, and all that jazz as well.
Well, kind of. I won't pretend to be perfect, but remember, I did come from the Fireside Orchard. That means I absorbed a lot less pesticides than your average apple.
Darn, I thought I had you there.
Nice try, but haven't you figured out by now that I'm just better than you and there's no way you can beat me?
Well, we haven't talked about packaging yet. Maybe I have a chance with that.
Nope, I went there too. You're packaging formaldehyde and I just go straight into my wooden box.
What about all those fancy-dancy cool rooms down at Fireside? Don't those use up a lot of unnecessary energy?
You're probably right about that, but I think the orchard is allowed to have a few drawbacks since they're so good in every other dimension.
Fair enough. Apple, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Have you ever thought of what's going to happen once you die?
I have. This is one thing we actually both have in common.
What do you mean?
Well, since we're both in the calf right now, that means we're probably going to be eaten in the calf. St. Olaf composts all the food waste here, and that process takes about 2 to 3 weeks.
Good for us, but what if whoever eats us takes us out of the calf? Then what happens?
Well, then we're not so great for the environment. That means we're probably going to end up in landfills, and those are the world's largest producers of methane.
So, can we call the disposal part a tie?
Sure. Being a banana or an apple really doesn't make any difference here. It's all up to the consumer.
Speaking of the consumer, that person in the calf has been waiting a really long time for us to make our cases.
You're right. I think it's time we just let the consumer choose. It is all about the power of the fork, after all.
So, what do you choose, person?
Actually, it's Jeff. I think we're going to have to go with Apple. Sorry, Banana, but there are just too many environmental impacts. And, I really do care about destruction of the rainforest and marine habitat. And, I do want my food choices to reduce the impact I have on the environment. So, I'm sorry, but you've done too much harm.
Thanks for being honest. Now that the apple has told me all these things, I wouldn't choose myself either. I know that the apple is the better choice for the environment.
Now that I've decided on my food, I'm pretty thirsty. I could really go for some coffee. But what do I pick?
No, I'm the brand America can trust.
Well, we'll just see about that.
Every morning, America wakes up with me in their coffee cup. They trust me to get their daily start for a great day.
Yeah, but where do you come from?
You know what? That's a great question. Well, if you haven't seen my commercial, from a South American country with smiling workers with great mustaches and hand-picking coffee.
I have seen that commercial. So, what exactly country are you shipped thousands of miles from?
I'm not really sure. I think it's Colombia.
Well, I know I'm shipped from select few organic farms in South and Central America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. So there will always be a farm that is in season and won't need to rely on just one farm. All are fair trade farms too.
Ooh, Mr. Important. So fancy. But aren't you shipped from somewhere far off too?
Well, yeah. Since coffee doesn't grow in the continental U.S., you'd have to ship it from somewhere. But Peace Coffee does come from farms that only harvest coffee in season, so they don't have to alter their tree's natural growing cycle.
You and your fancy trees.
Well, man, I'm trying to do what's best for the customer. By growing our coffee in the shade of overstory trees, we decrease the prevalence of deforestation and its resulting loss of biodiversity. The overstory trees are also nitrogen-fixing legumes, and their fallen leaves act as natural mulch. We also utilize the pulp created from processing coffee as compost. As a result of these practices, our soil is healthier, biodiversity loss is eliminated, and we don't need to use herbicides or fertilizers like you do.
Yeah, well, what about pests? Everyone has to deal with pests.
True, but we do it by using traps and by cultivating healthier trees through healthy soil practices to naturally fight off the bugs. And by naturally dealing with pests, we don't have problems like you do with pesticide runoff.
Well, what about soil erosion? Don't you have problems with that?
Well, since our coffee is shade grown, our soil is less exposed to the elements. Our farms don't lack underbrush like yours do, so the topsoil is less prone to erosion. And we don't have problems with the leaching of chemical inputs into water sources and eutrophication, since we don't use chemical inputs. And on the topic of water pollution, we compost our coffee pulp instead of discarding it in rivers, which decreases oxygen levels in rivers too.
That doesn't sound very good, does it? Well, it takes 140 liters of water to produce 1 cup of coffee. Even Peace Coffee. You can't argue that.
This is true. But though our water footprint may be similar, my carbon footprint is quite a bit lower.
What do you mean?
Well, we both start off as coffee plants in warmer climates, but once I make my way to Peace Coffee, I'm distributed locally by bike or biodiesel van, while you're shipped all across the country and world, burning fossil fuels and contributing even more to greenhouse gases to the atmosphere.
Okay, you have me there. But what about packaging and storage?
Well, all Peace Coffee orders are packaged in 100% biodegradable boxes, so we don't have to burn fossil fuels to make the plastic-free packaging.
Okay. Well, preparation. You can't escape that. We both have to be made in coffee makers, which use 900 watts of electricity.
True.
And look at what you're being served in. Did you know that North America uses 130 billion paper cups per year, and that the paper for that many cups requires 50 million trees and 33 billion gallons of water? When those cups are thrown away, the rotting cups in the landfill creates more greenhouse gases. I can't believe you would participate in that.
That's a good point. Even though paper cups in the cage are made out of recycled paper, it really is better for the environment to use a reusable mug. People should keep that in mind. But in deciding which of us is better for the environment, we need to consider production, transportation, packaging, storage, preparation, and disposal. So, person, what do you think?
Like I told the fruit, it's Jeff. But when you put it that way, I'm gonna go with Peace Coffee. Sorry, Joe Folgers, but I'd rather know that my cup of Joe be better for the environment. Well, that was pretty interesting. I've definitely been studying too hard if apples and bananas and cups of coffee are starting to talk to me. But hey, it's pretty useful to hear what they had to say. Now thanks to banana, apple, Folgers, and Peace Coffee, I think I can make an environmentally friendly choice when it comes to deciding what to eat and drink while studying. I hope you were taking notes so that you can make an environmentally conscious choice about what to eat. Now that I'm refueled, it's time to hit the books.